Now, as you just heard, Nigeria has today introduced into circulation its new currency, the first such redesign in 20 years. The measure is meant to address insecurity, tackle counterfeiting, force excess cash back into the banking system, and give politicians a disincentive to engage in vote buying during the elections. Nigeria's central bank says more than 80% of the money in circulation is being hoarded by individuals. The policy is likely to hit politicians who might be planning to use cash to bribe voters, a strategy which is common in this country during elections. A deadline of January the 31st had been set for Nigerians to trade in the old bank notes. But many Nigerians say the government should have focused on other measures to tackle soaring inflation instead of redesigning banknotes. The release of the new notes comes just 3 weeks before another change comes into effect, the limiting of cash withdrawals from banks. Well, for more on this, I'm joined now on the line from Lagos by Nigeria's foremost economist and CEO of financial derivatives, Bismark Rewane. Bismark, thank you very much indeed for joining us. We know you had a busy day, so we appreciate the time that you made to try and help us understand why the central bank is doing this, because on the face of it, it's supposed to be a way to fight inflation because there's too much money in the system. So they're combining monetary policy mechanisms, including raising interest rates, plus the redesigning of the naira, etc., to try to reduce the amount of money in circulation. Is that a good argument, or will the ultimate judge be whether all these measures help to, in fact, reduce inflation?
Well, first of all, thank you, Charles, for having me, and thank you, viewers. Let me say congratulations. I have the first new note with me, and quite frankly, it's interesting. But let me put it from a pure macroeconomic perspective. I want Nigerians to understand something, that all cash is money, but not all money is cash. In other words, Charles, let me say that you have 100,000 naira today. Of this 100,000 naira, at maximum of 10,000 naira will be with you in cash, 90,000 naira will be with you in the bank. All the purchases you make are probably by bank transfer, not cash. If you're going to buy a car today, I doubt that anybody is going to be buying a car carrying cash there. So this total misunderstanding of the situation, that cash in circulation, both in the banking system and outside the banking system, comes to 3 trillion naira, while money supply is something like 51 trillion naira. So cash is only about 6% of money. Money is defined as what money can buy, not the legal tender. So what you have is legal tender. And the last time I checked, the value of a currency never appreciated because of the color. If not, the Lebanese currency or the Egyptian currency would have been the most valuable because they're very colorful and all of that. So no team wins a game because of the color of its jersey. The people win a game because of the capacity. Between France and Argentina, the color of their jerseys, what are going to be bluish, now won't determine. It depends on the ferocity and the tenacity of Mbappe on one hand and Lionel Messi on the other, a team. So I think it's important that, to me, these policies in terms of fighting inflation is just going to be neutral. Well, the currency it's bluish. I like the color. But that doesn't make me, money is defined as what money can buy. I'm not interested in the color of the currency. I'm interested in how much the currency can buy. Period. End of story. If the bag of rice is 56,000 naira, whether the currency is red, blue, or yellow, and the bag of rice is 35,000 naira, I'll go for the currency that will give me 35,000 naira. The woman is not going to sell the bag of rice to you because the color is blue or red. No, please. Let's, we need to understand things from the proper perspective. And I will make one more comment before I stop. When I went to School of Economics, the first thing they asked me, what's the difference between salaries and wages? And I didn't know. And I said, okay. The professor said, salaries you pay by check, wages you pay by cash. That was many, many years ago. So people that get wages are people that work on construction sites where they put the money in small envelopes and give to them. But even that has stopped. What you now have is mass transfer of money into your accounts. And it's that money supply that you use to buy things. It is not the cash. So to totally misunderstand the situation that cash being kept under the mattress and all of that. In any case, that cash belongs to him. If the man decides to keep it under his mattress, it belongs to him. So what's the problem? As a matter of fact, the more money you hoard, the lower prices become, because inflation is defined as much money chasing goods. So if I keep my money and I don't give it to anybody, it will not push up prices. So it's counterfactual. It doesn't make, it falls flat in the face of economics.
Well, thank you very much indeed for that explanation, but I think a lot of people are still trying to get their heads around it, because most of us don't have the same kind of economic knowledge that you clearly do. This is a big push to control money supply, and this phasing out of the old legal tender. I mean, as you said, around 3 trillion naira that's leaving the economy. The new currency that's being brought into the economy, I understand, is about 1 trillion naira. So that means less cash to spend, doesn't it? And when you add that to the limits of on over-the-counter withdrawals and how much you can withdraw from ATMs and so on, I wonder whether, just looking at the short-term issues that Nigeria faces, such as the election that's coming up, might all that solve the problem of political candidates having excess cash in their hands?
No, it doesn't. Let me put it this way. Total money supply, I told you, is 50 trillion naira. Even if you take 2 away, assuming, but people are going to pay that money into their account, and they will spend it by way of transfers. So you are not reducing money supply. As a matter of fact, all you are doing is gathering it into the banking system. So let's not be deceived by that. 2, it's only 4% of 2 trillion is 4% of 50 trillion. It doesn't move the needle. You see, the worst thing to do is for you to be playing with mirrors. Right? That's not the issue. The issue is total money supply. Government borrowing alone, government borrowing from the central bank is 23 trillion naira. What is that? That's, if you take the 2 trillion away, assuming that they got the 2 trillion from people, you still have 21 trillion naira of government debt in the central bank, which is a worse enemy to inflation. Is it the government debt in the central bank, or the cash that is hidden in GP tanks and under the wells? Please, let's be real.
Yeah, but what I was wondering is with specific reference to the election in February, because it's been said that the presidential candidates normally allow money to flow during the election period, and that such funds are used to garner support. I mean, you're not going to transfer money to the accounts of all the voters that you want to induce. So you're going to need a large amount of cash. And my question is, in your assessment, is this move likely to checkmate that form of vote buying?
Well, maybe a little bit, but let me put it this way. Before you were born, before I was born, politicians have been buying votes in this country. They will continue to buy votes from now till eternity. They have their ways and means. They are also, look, they've already dollarized their assets already. The day they come back and start buying, they will use their dollars to buy naira, and that naira will be used to buy votes. So let's put it. You see, as long as poverty, and you have 133 million people in multidimensional poverty in this country, the poverty has been weaponized as a political, tool. So you address poverty, address that. Then, because look, a man, there's no morality in this thing. The truth is that I need to buy a bag of rice. Even if I don't give you cash, if I use it to buy rice and transfer money, and I give you rice, the money I would have given to you, you would have gone to use to buy rice anyway. So the definition of money is what money can buy, not the cash in your pocket. Let's get that clear. You see, this level of economic illiteracy is detrimental to the country. We need to. You see, it's primitive to look at all cash, all money being cash. No, there are ways and means people can transfer money anywhere, anytime, can bring in goods into this country and give you the palliatives. In any case, that's what is going to happen. You think politicians are worried about this? You're wasting your time. They already have a way around it. As a matter of fact, the people that are supposed to arrest them are also enjoying the party. So I don't believe in this self-delusion.
I think you've made a very, very important and critical point there, which is the fact that, they can simply buy the goods as opposed to giving people cash. I mean, transfer the money from their accounts, buy the rice, and give the people the rice. I mean, I think that's probably the best example that I've heard of the potential of this vote buying process to continue. But of course, there is the other side, which is seen as the downside, concerns that this will affect informal traders who may not use bank accounts because they depend on cash. What do you make of that?
No, listen, whether you like it or not, listen, there was Biafra, there was people were given 20 naira instead of, look, the reality is that money is what money can buy. You have 6 weeks in which to change this money, right? And quite frankly, this month alone, I think about 25 trillion naira of transactions were done. 95% of the transactions were done under NIP, NEFT, POS, and all of these kind of things. Only about 4 to 5% was done in cash. So the velocity of circulation of money depends on the payment and settlement system. Like in Kenya and all these places. Right, this is what's happening. Look, the Ghanaian currency appreciated by almost 30% in the last couple of days, the last 2 days, because they did a deal with the IMF. And why? It wasn't because the color of the currency became green or yellow or blue. It's because they did a deal, and their debt their debt level was structured. And fundamentally, the economy is in a better place than they've come to terms with their creditors. That is what drives down inflation. That's what makes currencies appreciate. And that's what takes the economy to the next level. So, to me, the thing, I've made it clear that people will buy the goods will be used to seduce the voters. And during COVID, how much cash was given to people? It was palliatives. It was oil, sugar, rice, and all these things that were given to people. And that solved the day. So, Charles, the truth is that let's call a spade a spade. Trade will continue, transactions will continue. Cash as a medium of exchange in Nigeria or everywhere in the world has actually reduced. So, yes, to me, honestly, I think you would see that this is neutral to the economy.
Yeah, I think that point you made, I'm glad you made it again, because that's a very important thing to keep in mind. Nevertheless, we've seen the Nigerian Senate urging the central bank to, for example, adjust the new limit on cash withdrawals. They acknowledged the potential benefits to the economy, but felt that there should be wider consultation before the policy comes into force. I mean, what do you reckon?
No, look, I have great respect for the senators. I think they are doing a lot of work for Nigeria. But the thing is that Walter Lippmann said that 100 zeros multiplied by 0 gives you what? So in terms of knowledge, right, I'm afraid that when it comes to understanding the dynamics of economics and the impact on the economy, with all due respect, the senators, it is the question of zeros multiplied by 0. I don't think the knowledge base increases. If not, you extended timeline, those are good things. But will it address counterfeiting? Will it address inflation? The guys who are going to counterfeit this currency, all they have to do is to form the frame and take it somewhere in Lebanon and print it and bring it here. There's nothing you can do about that, except and if your security agencies are compromised, that will deal with it. So, I agree and I have respect, but what is the issue? What are we trying to solve here? In the last 20 years, is it because we didn't change the color of the currency that there was inflation? No, sorry. That is total misdiagnosis. And it's a very, very simplistic approach to complex issues. Very, very simplistic.
Well, I have to admit that most of us, in comparison to your knowledge of the economy, are pretty simplistic. So we're all trying to get our heads around it, and that probably includes some people in the Senate. But I suppose, I mean, their issue really is about the limit on cash withdrawals and people who have to do business in cash, and the fact that they've now got to be, they're very limited in the amount of money that they can withdraw. But I suppose it is important to point out that the central bank isn't inflexible on these measures, but has said that it is willing to review them if there is a need to do that. So basically, all this is not written in stone, is it?
No, no. I agree with the central bank. Look, flexible, but again, it's money, it's convenience. It must be portable, right? That's why people don't carry coins. If I gave you 1,000 naira in coins today, you need to be a Hercules to be able to carry it, right? So the truth is that money must be portable, must be acceptable, must be a form of, must be meet for transaction needs, must be a store of value more than anything else, must be a store of value. This is the crux of the matter. Let's face it. I agree with the Senate that yes, people must not be made to suffer because of a change of currency and because of limits. But at the same time, we are moving towards the cashless economy, and the cashless economy is much more efficient. It reduces armed robbery. So to that extent, I agree with the central bank that there should be limits, but not restrictive limits, because the transition from a cash economy, from a barter economy to a cash economy to a check economy to a card economy to a total cashless economy takes some time. And so, but the central bank is doing it in the best interest of the country. And also, right now, the cashless policy is mandatory in 6 states. Now they're making it nationwide. So I think it's time for us to move in that direction. So I agree with the central bank, and I agree with the Senate that it should be flexible. Central bank saying that flexible is good. So, but let us not mistake the fact that the change of currency and the cash limits is going to address inflation. Inflation is a different animal altogether. It's a hydra-headed problem that needs some understanding of economics to deal with it. If not, we're using the wrong therapy for a wrong problem.
Well, that's a good point. And just to be fair, that you can actually exceed those limits that the central bank has set for withdrawals, but there is a fee if you do. But you mentioned the fact, which is a very important point. I mean, it's not every day that we have you on air. And you mentioned the issue of inflation, attempting to tame inflation being a hydra-headed problem. I wonder if you can give us your general sense. I mean, we've got 2 months basically to the elections. Give us your assessment of where the Nigerian economy is at the moment.
Well, first and foremost, inflation numbers came out today. And the last I checked, it was 21.47, which compared to last year, November, it has gone up by 6.07%. Well, but that's not all. Ghana reported 50.03. I mean, can you imagine? So it's not a Nigeria-specific problem. And the central bank has done, they've moved the MPR up significantly in the last 3 meetings. But it's not a silver bullet. The increase in the money policy rate is only one of the tools that are used to cool inflation. You still have to deal with the federal government debt. You still have to look at the fiscal deficit, right? And that is the issue. And then you still have to look at the general structure of interest rates. So I don't think it's going to be one fell swoop. Like in the United States, it went all the way to 10% and now down to 7.1. It's work in progress. So we need to be patient. We need to allow the tools of which the central bank is applying to help to moderate things over time. It's not a switch. So I think I will call on the Nigerian analysts and the politicians to be patient to allow these policies feel their way through. I think the central bank governor made it clear that we need to allow time to see that these policies are actually achieving the desired effect. So it's a balanced picture. But I think the most important thing for me is that the monetary policy authorities should level with the people, educate the people that inflation is not only a factor of cash, it's a function of money supply, and that not all cash is money, but not all money is cash. The money in your pocket is only a small portion of the money you have in your bank. It's the money in your bank that you use to buy things. It's your money in the bank that you use to pay for things. It's those things you pay for that push up prices, not the money in your pocket or the money under your GP tank or the money under your mattress. In any case, rats or cockroaches are going to eat the money under your mattress. Thank you.
I love that bit about the fare bags gnawing at your money under your mattress. We've got less than 2 minutes left. I mean, absolutely delightful and illuminating talking with you as always. But just before we go, give us a brief sense of what you think the politicians, whoever wins the election in 2023, is going to be inheriting as far as this economy is and how it goes and how much of a challenge it's going to be.
Well, I can tell you that it's not going to be easy. The situation is tough. The current policies, again, the policies are good. The implementation is, defective, and so there's a management problem here. So whoever is coming in has to be ruthless enough to, one, deal with the policies, tinker with the policies, but deal with the management of the economy. The economic management means implementation all out, and having the ruthlessness to take the policies, reschedule our debt, just like Ghana has just done, meet with our creditors, get some new money, but get productivity up, get growth back, and get things going. It's not going to be easy. All I can tell you is that whoever is going to go there, whoever has the misfortune of winning this election, will have his work cut out for him. Again, I say it again, whoever has the misfortune of being the winner of this election has a good job, his job cut out for him. Thank you, Charles.
And I have to say, on that rather sort of depressing note, I want to thank you very much indeed, Bismark. Always brilliant talking with you. And there's always a little twist of humor there, isn't there? Bismark Rewane is Nigeria's foremost economist and CEO of Financial Derivatives. And he was talking to me there from Lagos.